Snap back with T-Mac. Here we go, halftime edition of the LSU-Arkansas game. Matt, and I thought, coming out that first half or those first couple of drives that LSU's offense looked really good.
Every part of it, run
Yeah.
game, pass game, all look good.
Yeah, and then hitting the backside of the backfield. Nussmeier was settled. We were doing a lot of motions and things where he could see what type of coverage they were in. A couple times he caught him in man coverage. Well, once, and he threw that fade to Daniels in the back of the end zone and got that flag. But it was almost like after those first two drives that we relaxed a little bit, and then Nuss just wasn't as smooth.
They started getting pressure to him more in the last few drives.
Yeah, he's been hit a lot. I don't think they've sacked him in the first half, but there were probably 5, 6, 7 throws where as soon as he threw it, he got smoked.
Yeah.
And I think as an offensive lineman, you look at this game and you see the false starts. Our offense it doesn't look like we're operating with a silent count. So it looks like everything we're going off of Nuss's voice. And when you get in an environment like that where it's so loud and then they're shifting on the defensive line, it makes it really tough on those guys up front. But it's not just the offensive linemen that are having issues. We've had a couple false starts by the receivers. So we're not in sync all the way across the board. And I think we'll get that fixed. But at the same time, you don't want this to be a close game in the fourth quarter. If you've already had a problem with crowd noise in the first half, and this is a one-score game, and LSU has to go drive the field to kick a field goal or score, it's not going to be a good situation. So we've had twice, and luckily Arkansas has missed one field goal. We've hit ours when we got down there, which is huge. You'd love to come away with 7 points instead of the 3, but at least we're getting some points in those situations. Madden, what do you think? What have you seen this first half, or what do you think we need to do in the second half for us to be successful?
I think our defense they honestly need to keep doing what they're doing. Just try to not let that quarterback get outside the pocket and run. We need to put pressure on him because we know he can affect us with his legs, and when he gets outside the pocket, he's more accurate and he can do a lot more.
Yeah, and one of the things, if you watch what Bobby Petrino, and he's a guy that can scheme. As much as I don't like the guy, he can scheme according to what you're doing on defense. So he's doing a lot of concepts where he'll start a receiver on one side, he takes him across the middle of the field to the other side of the field, and if you're in zone coverage and you don't pass those zones
Leaves
off,
them wide open.
You're leaving guys wide open. And I want y'all to watch, it happened 3 times in that first half. And I can remember when he coached us in Atlanta, we used to use that official, the umpire. Watch him. He's standing about 7 to 8 yards behind the defensive line. And when that receiver is coming across on the drag route, his point of emphasis is to that umpire. And he's going to use that umpire to rub the defender, if we're in man coverage, to try to rub the defender off of him. And there were a couple times where that umpire almost got smoked, and they're completing those balls on that drag route. I can tell you this, watch a lot of football, and what I've seen from Wilson, Arkansas's quarterback, the dude can play, man. He's poised.
Yeah.
He can move in the pocket when he needs to. He's accurate throwing it downfield.
He throws a good deep ball.
Yeah, he throws a really good deep ball, and they don't have anything to speak of a running game going right now. So LSU's doing a good job there, but he has too much time back there. Coach Blake Baker, he did it last week against Ole Miss. We go in the half, and you see him. They got time to look at everything and talk about it. And he did a good job of making some adjustments and running some play specific blitzes and having that ready. So I expect Coach Baker will have something new when we come out to where Wilson can't be so comfortable. Go ahead, man. What you got?
One by Jason Bourgeois. What's up with the time management at the end of the half?
I don't know.
Not trying to score right there.
I tell you, I looked at it and I was wondering the same thing. So you're backed up. Your goal when you're backed up as an offense is to get 2 first downs. If you get 2 first downs, you feel like you've done a good job there. But you look, Arkansas had, I believe, all 3 timeouts. So if you're not successful, it was 2nd down and 10 there, if you're not successful and then you get to 3rd down and 10 to where it's probably a 3rd down and you got to go punt it to Arkansas, they get the ball back with all 3 timeouts. And I think Coach Kelly felt comfortable with the 16-7 lead going into half and, not trying to force something and you turn it over and it's a 16-14 game going into half. You feel a lot better about it right there. I think the biggest thing, I saw C.J. Daniels, he's back, but the last ball he caught, he's not 100% healthy. It was hard planting on that ankle, and you watch him after that play. He was limping, going back to the huddle. As a player, when you're coming back from injury, you can do all these drills with the trainers and everything, but until you get back out on that field, and you go through some motions that are just instincts and are not stuff that you're pre-planning. You don't put those injuries in those situations, and he had a situation where he had to plant and try to get out after catching that ball, and you could tell he was still a little sore. Yeah. You got another one? Yeah. Go ahead.
The overturn targeting was a gift, right?
I 100% agree. We're sitting here watching that at home, and I thought he was about to get kicked out of the game. And, we go from them getting a 15-yard penalty, one of our guys in the back end being kicked out of the game, to 2nd down and 10. That was big.
Yeah, that was definitely the first Casey McKenzie question. That was actually a good question, not just just joking.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. Yeah. We'll do some research on him. We got a comment here. The refs are horrible. They're getting involved, really involved in this game. What I liked in that half, they got their DB, I believe it's number 13, that's doing the lane frost after every pass breakup, and he's sitting there doing a celebration dance, and there's a flag laying right behind him. Let's see what old Brett the Hitman has for us.
Hitman.
Feelings aside, is Bobby Petrino a good OC, college or NFL? Hitman, he's a guy that knows offense, and he knows how to create mismatches, and he's really good with scheme. He's really good at adjusting from one play to the next and from one series to the next. I mean, there's no debating that. He's a really good offensive coordinator. As far as morals and, good judge of character, those type of things, riding a motorcycle, that's not him, But if he's calling plays and getting guys open, he's pretty good at it. I'm going to tell you that, and that's why, he gets in all that trouble. Arkansas leaves, and they hire him back because the guy can coach football. So you got to give him that, but we just got to create some pressure and not give their quarterback time for those crossing routes to clear. If you have pressure, he can't sit back there and let those crossing routes come all the way across the field. You got another one? Go ahead.
Was that the best punt you've ever seen?
That was a pretty good punt there. Went out the 2-yard line. I've seen some good ones. I used to punt. Kelly Walls was a guy that could really boom it. Yeah, back in Baker, when Baker was back in their heyday, he was an athlete, but supposedly, word on the street, he's not the best punter to ever come out of Baker. There's a guy that wears the NFL chain that punted for the Packers at one time. So you got any more there?
You think if Nuss wins this game, he'll be in the Heisman conversation?
Is somebody asking that?
Yeah.
Are you asking that?
Casey McKenzie's asking that.
No, I mean, shoot, I think right now it's a one-man race, in my opinion. You watch Miami play today, and I think Ward is just on a completely whole nother level.
But also Genty from Boise State is also on a
and that's the thing. Genty, they're playing games that are late night, on that West Coast time zone, so we don't get to see that guy. Also, though, I know Miami's schedule hadn't been the toughest around, but Boise State isn't playing SEC competition every week. And then, I mean, you go to Colorado, and I just don't know if they have a good enough team for him to win it. But you look last year, we didn't have the team that, went undefeated, and Daniels did some things to separate. And I think right now Ward is doing some things to separate himself in that Heisman race. So two question maximum in this chat, so he doesn't get any more. Let's see. Jason is saying that pass wasn't inbounds before they scored. They have had 2 really good catches on the sideline. A big 6'7" receiver. I was like, there's no way he caught that ball and was in bounds, and he was stretched out. And
he's down now.
Yeah,
he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt, but I mean, he had that was an unbelievable catch. So I think, Matt, looking at it, do you have any more right there? All right, so going into the second half, we got the opening kick, right? So we'll be kicking to Arkansas.
We had first drive, didn't we?
Yeah. So
We were kicking to Arkansas, yeah.
yeah, we're kicking Arkansas. We got to go stop them. And I think, one thing that Petrino is good with is coming out of halftime. You have time to look at it, look at the stats, look at coverages that they were playing on certain down and distances, and he's going to have a scheme ready. This will be a chess match, and we'll see if Coach Blake Baker changes some things, some tendencies, some things we did in the first half. I think you got to hit him a little bit different. This is the type of guy you don't want him to get out of the pocket. When you're playing against a quarterback, we played against some quarterbacks in the past, and I can remember our defensive coordinator's scheme was we're going to rush this guy, but we're going to rush him to keep him in the pocket. Mm-hmm. We don't want to rush him and spook him out of the pocket because some of those guys, that's where their most explosive plays come, when you rush them and you get them out of the pocket. So it'll be interesting to see what both of these coordinators come up with. And then the bottom line, man, we've got to go execute. We've got to cut out. We can't have any more pre-snap penalties. It looks like we're successful when we stay ahead of the sticks and we're able to get our running game going. Nussmeier's got to settle down a little bit. They're mixing up some coverages and they're disguising a lot. If you watch every play they do on defense, they're rocking and rolling their safeties. They're trying to make Nuss think to the last minute, wait to the last minute to make decisions, and they have forced him a couple times to throw balls into double coverage. He's had 2 balls that nearly could have. Well, he shouldn't have thrown, but they could have been picks. So we got to be careful there. And I think, man, one thing we got away from early in the game where we're hitting some short stuff and some underneath stuff,
and they went away.
And then that third, fourth, fifth drive, we started trying to take shots down the field. What about Mason Taylor's catch on the sideline? That's why that guy is so good. He can do it in a run game. He can block. He can make those catches when you need them, wherever you need them, whenever you throw it his way. So it's getting a little chippy out there.
One thing that I'm worried about is Sage Ryan going down right there. He's already made a good play in this game, and we're already thin in the secondary.
Yeah, I agree with you on there. And then Stamps has been really good for us this year, but this game he looks a little lost.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where your eye discipline has to be really good, and they're doing a lot schematically on offense. You have to do your job. Whit Weeks had a guy covered in the flat, and they had a guy going down the seam, and Stamps thought he was going to have to come up and make the play, but Whit's already there.
Yeah.
Just do your job and let everybody else take care of it. All right, I got a few here. He's saying, as a Falcons fan, I hope Petrino crashes and burns worse than he did with his mistress on the motorcycle. I agree with you. I don't like him as a person, but he's a pretty good offensive coordinator. Mason is a dog for sure. David Messina, I love everything about Mason Taylor and the way he plays the game, his approach. True pro. He's a guy that's going to play for a long time.
He can do it all as a tight end.
Yeah, he's going to look good in the Falcons uniform.
Yeah,
so
that'd be nice.
Alvin Schaefer, one of my running dogs from the way back. Trey Green and Mason, and you can see, Matt, and you talked about it in our pregame that Trey Green, they moved him out of the tight end room, put him in that receivers room. He's had the most plays he's had all year.
Yeah, he's had a few good catches too.
Yeah, he's been on the field a lot. They're motioning him, and they're trying to create some mismatches, and they're trying to work the ball to him. They tried to throw that one go route, and he just couldn't quite get past that DB. But you can see, and I think as this thing goes along, his role is going to evolve a lot. And Trey Green is he's going to be a playmaker. Marty Broussard, I know you're hitting it from all angles. Marty Broussard is he's a redemptress wolf to start. Went to Baker, then graduated from Baker. Kids went to Catholic, so now he's a Cur Dog, a Orange Crush, a Bear.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, I think they call him type of guys bandwagon, but his comment was Cur Dog. He's trying to get on my alma mater in Central last night, but Catholic looked really good last night. I've watched a lot of film on all three teams, and I'm gonna let you know the Z is coming,
Only
baby.
thing we worry about is the Z right now.
Yeah.
Don't care about no cur dog or
We-
wildcat or whatever.
Yeah, well, we got the Cur Dogs coming to the Corral, but we got to go to Central, and that's going to be two really good football games. So it's 16-7 at halftime. The Tigers just got to keep doing what they're doing. You got a few more questions there? Let's see. I'm gonna scroll, see if catch a few more before we take off. Yeah, Arkansas gets the ball first, David. I see you talked about that, and I think that was a good plan going in by our coaching staff. You know, you want to try to go score all the time, but you got to be smart. Eric Duvall, is Bama turning into the Saints like when Peyton left? Eric, I don't know. I think they need to go ahead and take the team and move them to San Antonio or Europe or Europe would be a good spot. They're trying to get the game more international. Germany, would be a good spot. The Germany Saints, it's got a ring to it, right?
Yeah, you saw they're holding public trials.
Yeah, public trials, man.
Like the
It's the
Eagles?
same. We ain't gonna waste no time talking about the Saints, man. We got
Something like that.
Falcons got the Seahawks tomorrow. Dustin Bird said, "Is Army legit?" I didn't get a chance to watch that one today, but you hear everybody talking around the country talking about Army. They might be legit, man. They got the special forces behind them, so that'll be one we'll have to keep watching. Alvin, you bring a good point. I'm just checking to see if it's coming back on. The four-stack defensive look. That's the first time I'd ever seen that. When we used to play
nice.
Mississippi State, their defensive coordinator had a front we called the Mississippi Snake Eye, where they took 8 guys up front, and they just all started walking in circles, and they were walking all around the line of scrimmage, and when the ball was snapped, 4 of them would come or 5 of them would come. But that's the first time I have ever seen them stacked straight up in the middle of the
That's
field.
something you can really only do once a game, right? I mean,
Well,
when
you
think about
can.
it.
You caught them off guard, and I would think next time they see us line up like that, they may check to quarterback draw, quarterback run. But what it did was you didn't know who was coming. You didn't know who was going to be wearing coverage. We brought the backers, and the safety dropped out into coverage, and the
Yeah.
quarterback he didn't know what to do.
You could pretend like you're blitzing and they can drop back in zone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I'm saying the quarterback didn't know what to do. He
Yeah.
didn't know who was going to be in coverage, and that's not if you run that over and over and over, they're going to burn you eventually. But Blake Baker dialing that one up.
I liked it. I definitely liked
We
it.
call it Gate 8 is the name of that. That's what I'm calling it. And I'll tell you about Gate 8 one day when we have some time. But, back in the day, Gate 8 in Tiger Stadium used to be some guys that coming in for free. Got to watch some games. Maverick McClure, where's he at? What do you ask? Okay, how do we feel about all the deep passes coming from Nuss? And we talked about that, Maverick, if you would have tuned in earlier,
he's just-
from the beginning. I think we're trying to go deep too much. We got to hit some of the underneath stuff and take your shots when you get the opportunity. But
Do what's working for us. Don't try to stray away from it. It's been working for us the whole year. Just those little short 5-yard outs and hitches have all been
I
working
like
for
it.
us
And
the whole
you got to
year.
get, I don't know, teams, you see times we get down in the red zone, they're going to double cover, they're going to have help to the inside on tight end. Mason Taylor, they're always going to have help, but you got to get him more involved. He's a guy that can
Coming out right now.
go catch those 50-50 balls. So Tigers need to go get it done, take care of business, cut out the pre-snap penalties, and go finish this one out. Don't make this a close game in the fourth quarter. Don't let Walmart Field get loud on you. And that's what it is, bro. It's Walmart Field. That's why the NIL, they got Walmart money. They got Tyson Chicken money.
All right, they're kicking off right now.
Here we go. Go Tigers. Let's go.
Tune in next week.